Hello and welcome back to Suspended Fanimation. I'm your host, Dennis Pathologos. Excuse me, have a little bit of a cold going on there. And tonight is The Passage, Season 1, Episode 2, You Owe Me a Unicorn. So I've been hearing from a lot of people that saying that this has diverged from the series of books that are out there. And I don't know, I haven't read the books, honestly. So so far it's off to a kind of a slow start. I'm waiting for, more vampires in this thing, or at least, some of the story going on. So before I start on anything, spoiler alert, I am going to spoil the episode. I'm going to go over a recap and a review of this. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it, and then you can come on back. This will be a video. You can comment down below in the comment section. And for those of you playing at home who remember this, I actually found this little guy when I was cleaning up today. It's my old spoiler alert sign that started off everything. And then, it was kind of funny that I found that buried under some stuff. So it is an antique Pen Farm Girl. Yeah. So we start off pretty much where we left off in episode 1 with Amy and Brad on the run from Clark's guys. They're following them. Brad has been shot in the side, and they're in a police car. And Brad actually, I was kind of surprised. It was nice seeing someone with a few brains for a change in a TV show. He is going through town with Clark's guys behind him in his dark cars. He hits the lights on the police car as he's going through a red light, and cars stop for him. He goes through, and of course Clark's guys get hit by cars and get stopped. And he's driving by a school, sees a school bus loading up some kids. He goes, hold on a second. He pulls off to the side, gets Amy out, and has her put on her backpack and says, okay. He poses as a new parent and says, oh, I forgot everything. I forgot her shirt, her lunch, all this stuff. Gets her on board the bus, and then also whispers in her ear to do something for him, which is to let him on the back through the emergency exit. And as soon as he gets on board, one of the kids on board the bus takes a picture with his cell phone, and Brad grabs the cell phone and says, "No, no phones on the bus," which I kind of liked. So wasn't bad. They actually did a pretty good job there. So meanwhile, back at Project Noah out in Colorado, we have kind of the more submissive guard, if you will, asking the bully guard why he keeps banging on the cell wall of Babcock's cell. And he says, mind your own business. You're taking care of Fanning. I'm taking care of Babcock. I can do things my way. You do things your way, kind of thing. And yeah, we already know this guy's going to be an asshole, and he's going to die soon, because that's pretty much how this goes 9 times out of 10. We also see that the virus now has spread from China to Korea and has a 40% transmission rate, which is pretty damn high at this point. So it's they're closing off borders as fast as they can, but more than likely this is going to be a pretty big global pandemic at this point. And they want to speed up the process, of course. They want to find this girl. They want to test it on her. And Dr. Major Sykes is saying, we need this girl now so we can actually do this stuff. Where is he? And we have Dr. Lear saying that he's actually pulling for Brad to get her clear of them. So yeah. Sorry, I was reading something in the chat there. In the meantime, Brad and Amy have stolen another car, and Brad says, what, he doesn't look good. He looks like he's going to pass out. And he goes, I just need to pull over. He does, and passes out behind the wheel. And of course, Amy's pretty freaked out at this point. In the meantime, Clark is interviewing the kid who took the picture with the cell phone, and he's asking the kid, what the number is on the phone. He goes, I don't know. It's my sister's phone. He goes, well, what's your mom's number? I don't know. It's in the speed dial. Again, I like this kind of, it's a little refreshing to see that people are actually taking into account what's going on in this day and age where people don't remember numbers anymore. It's everything's in your phone. So, I probably remember a handful of numbers that I used to know, something like 50 some odd numbers at one point in time, just because, in case you needed it, if you're out and about. But now with phones, you don't need to do that because I'm old, you know? Yeah. And so we see that um, Amy ends up calling up Lila, Brad's ex, who's a doctor, because she's in his phone there. And she ends up walking Amy through checking on Brad to see if he's still alive, one, and also checking on his wound. And she sees that his wound's caked over. It's not bleeding anymore. He's just passed out. She goes, you know what? You know how to make a noogie? She goes, just ram it into his chest really, really hard as you can. And Brad wakes up, he's like, what the hell? And that's when Amy goes, I have your ex-wife on the phone. She wants to talk to you. And Brad's pretty pissed off because I didn't want to get you involved in any of this. Don't call back. And he ends up hanging up on her, breaks the phone, tosses out the window, and they drive on. Slurming Scott says the virus went to Korea, must need a new flat screen. You're on timeout. So yeah, Dr. Lear at this point is he's running Carter through the possible side effects of the injection that he's about to give him. And Carter says, why am I more afraid here than I was on death row? And then he also asked Dr. Lear, did you ever think, in your career that you would be using people as experiment, as guinea pigs? And yeah, Dr. Lear is like, no, I didn't think that would be doing this kind of thing, but it's necessary. Yeah. So we don't know where it is. And we have a flashback of Dr. Lear talking to his wife, Liz, about going to talk to Fanning about getting him on board to go and find this 250-year-old man down in Ecuador. And she's like, well, don't do this on my account. And he's like, no, I'm doing this because of you. We don't know exactly the reason why. And he ends up going to find Fanning, and Fanning's at a book signing and tells him that, I want you to help me find this guy because Liz has Alzheimer's and it's really fast, onset. And she's already gotten lost a couple times in the city. And Fanning's kind of disappointed that, Lear didn't come to him since he's a neurologist and all this stuff. And we have this flashback coming in every now and then within the episode. So Amy and Brad are on the road, and he says he's going to a friend's house in Wisconsin. And Amy is just kind of pissed at Brad for passing out on him. And she ends up making a pact with him saying, you don't leave me, I don't leave you. So they end up going to Brad's friend's house, and he's walking her through the woods, says, you'll like her. She raises goats and all this stuff. And he stops her in the forest, goes, hold on a second. He reaches down, grabs a string, pulls it, and an alarm goes off, like a loud alarm. He goes, okay, let's go. And they raise their hands up. They go out, and we see this woman with a large shotgun who is Lacey. And she knows who he is. She's like, what the hell kind of trouble have you gotten yourself into at this point? And brings him inside. And, she knows him. She actually was his trainer, his instructor back in the military. So, yeah, she is a no-nonsense person. Pretty straightforward, has a lot of fucking weapons. A lot of weapons. Obviously not enough for what happens. So Clark, in the meantime, is on Brad's trail. He finds the phone and knows they're headed to Wisconsin and says, okay, they're going to go into Canada as well. So he's trying to get all his, angles covered at this point. Military advisor, and then a nun. Yeah, she was a nun before being a military advisor. So that was different from the book Pen Farm Girl. Okay, I didn't know. I kind of figured, for what happens, near the end here, which, it wasn't that really all that important about it. Oh, just different. Okay. So we see that we have another flashback of Dr. Lear talking to Fanning. He's showing him a blood sample about what it can do and how it can fix damaged cells and how quickly it can fix damaged cells. And Fanning's on board at this point. He's like, okay, crap, we need to go and find this guy. If this is what it can do, we're going to go and do that. So we go back, and Lacey's telling Brad that she has a guy that she can get them into Canada across the lake and also get some IDs. And she's also gotten rid of his car. She knows a guy that will get rid of that as well. And she says, tell you what, you get the kid to safety, someplace safe. I'll release the story. She goes, I need to do penance for a lot of the stuff I've done, which we don't know exactly what that is. We just know that's what she says, you know. Oh, and also Lila has shown up at this point too. Lila knows that his only friend in Wisconsin is Lacey, so she's shown up as well. Slurmy Scott, there 3 minutes. Okay. As long as you put your nose in the corner, you're fine, Slurmy Scott. So Brad tells Lacey the names of all the 12 death row inmates that they're, using for the experiment. She writes them down. And I'm kind of, yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit here. There's some other stuff that's going on. Carter, in the meantime, is running on a treadmill and he stops because he hears some music and he goes through a door. He enters a bar, so we know he's dreaming at this point, and he sees Babcock sitting there on the chair, and she says, "Oh, come on in." She goes, "About time you showed up. We need you to get on board with this thing. Don't struggle with it." And Fanning's there as well, and Fanning basically says, don't trust Jonah. Don't trust Jonas, because Jonas is a liar. And then he slides him a drink, and Carter's like, "No thanks, I don't want this." And of course Babcock says sooner or later you're going to drink it one way or another. And then when he turns around to leave, Fanning's right behind him there and stops him kind of. And Babcock also says, "You need to pay for what you got there." And he goes, "I don't have any money." And she goes, No, we don't use money here." She reaches into his mouth and pulls out his tooth and says, "We pay in parts of ourselves," which is kind of a weird thing. I'm hoping they're going to get into this a little bit more. And then Fanning says he has a message that he wants him to deliver to Jonas, and he whispers it in his ear and then vamps out. And of course, Carter wakes up in a cold sweat. So Lila, in the meantime, is stitching up Brad and asks him what he's going to do with Amy. And then Brad finally opens up about Eva, their daughter, about her, her death and everything, and how he's ashamed that he shut down on her. And then, that he loves her still, and that Amy kind of reawakened him, if you will. And, he's going to make her pancakes for the rest of her life kind of thing, because she has no one else in the world. So, and also Lila's new boyfriend or fiance has been sitting out in the car, hopefully with the window cracked, because, he's out someplace out in the woods. We don't know where. And hopefully he's okay at this point. And in the middle of the night, of course, Amy can't sleep. Brad's walking around too because he can't sleep. And so they meet, and she asks him a couple personal questions. She asks, "Are you an assassin?" And he's like, "No, I was in Afghanistan, and then I was a federal agent." And then she asks him if he believes in God, and he's like, "Oh," he kind of skips over the question and says, "Oh, you know what? I'll read to you instead until you fall asleep." Isn't that inhumane? Windows would be better down. Well, hopefully he knows how to operate the windows himself. I mean, I hope she was kidding, Pen Farm Girl, because that would be kind of weird, having her boyfriend out in the car. So, yeah. So the guy who's hauling Brad's old truck or old car ends up getting pulled over by Clark. And Clark asks him where he got it from. He goes, "I don't know. Dispatch sent me to it." And, I don't know where they get it from. And so Brad pulls out his gun, pistol whips the guy, and goes, "I think you know exactly who it is." And he gives up the name right away because, of course, Brad is pointing the gun at him and is going to pretty much kill him if he doesn't tell him. Yeah, Slurmy Scott. That's it. If you owe money, you go to a dentist to collect. Exactly. You can pay in teeth. So, excuse me. Then we go back to 2015 again, and Fanning brings a Department of Defense contract to Lear that's got an aggressive timeline on it. And Liz is really against this at this point. She's like, "You don't need to do this. Not for me. This disease is going to take me whether or not, you guys are working on this or not. It's gonna, overtake me at this point. She knows that she's on the fast track on Alzheimer's there. Carter, in the meantime, is walking down the hallway. He bumps into Lear, and Lear's like, "How you feeling?" He goes, "I did 6 miles. I feel great. I could have gotten more." And he goes, "How you sleeping?" He goes, "Well, I keep having nightmares." And it's the same guy in the nightmares. And he goes, "I think it's your friend, Dr. Fanning, and he keeps telling me not to trust you." And he also says he's got a message for you, and that you've already changed the world. You just need to sit back and see how it plays out, which is kind of an odd thing that, you would think that Lear at this point would go, "Holy shit, what the hell is going on?" Because all these people have been telling them that they've been seeing Lear. He's also seen some stuff. Clark has seen some stuff. Everyone's having these dreams, and yet no one's talking about them. It's kind of a weird thing, but yeah. So Lear ends up visiting his wife, Liz, who at this point is deep into the Alzheimer's there. She doesn't remember what day it is. She thinks that she's missed a lecture, and we see that she's pretty far along, and we know it's only a matter of time before he injects her with something. Because why not? That's what he's going to end up doing. So go back to the two guards, the bully guard and the submissive guard. And the bully guard is, they're cleaning up Babcock's cell, and she's behind bars, and they're inside the glass enclosure portion of it, and they're cleaning up. And the bully guard is, of course, taunting her by running the stick back and forth across the bars. And then he tries to get the submissive guard to go towards the bars a little bit more, and he won't. And so he grabs the submissive guard's ID, throws it inside her, inside the bars there, and he crawls over and grabs it back, and she doesn't do anything. And Babcock says, "Oh, I guess she's actually being really good." And just as he says that, she grabs him, pulls him towards the bars, and drains the shit out of him in a couple of seconds. And the submissive guard is just crying for help at this point. So, Babcock is, pretty much in vampire mode. We already knew this going on. So Brad is packing up him and Lacey's stuff, and him and Amy's stuff, and Lacey gives him some IDs. And they said, you're going to go across the lake, and then you're going to get into Canada. These should help you. We're going to go out the back door. And just as she's saying that, the alarm gets tripped. And we see 8 to 10 guys piling out of the cars. We see that through the video monitors. And Brad and Lacey grab their guns, head outside. They do their training like they're supposed to. They take out 2 guys. They go back inside. And as soon as Lacey crosses the window, which you would think, she ends up getting shot and killed, like pretty much right then and there. So they're inside. Clark is outside on the megaphone telling Brad that, give up, come out with the girl, and otherwise we're going to burn the house down. And so he ends up saying, "Okay, you guys go out the back. I'm going to go out the front." He drops his the big gun. He still has his handgun on him, and he goes out the front and surrenders and drops the handgun. And Clark asks him where the girl is, and he goes, "I already put her on a boat to Canada. She's already gone." He goes, "I don't believe you. You've got to the count of 3 before I shoot you in the head." And we see Lila and Amy making their way out the back door in slow motion, and Amy hears all of this, and of course she runs back outside and gives herself up too. Lila is smart and stays inside the house. And then Clark does a really stupid thing. One of his guys asks, "Should we go into the house and sweep it?" And Clark's like, "No, we've got what we came for, except for the 12 names of the convicts that Brad's already given to Lacey that she's written down, and Lila, who's sitting inside, who knows all of this as well." So there we go. So they're packed up in the back of a truck, Amy and Brad, and that's where we leave off on our episode. Like I said, kind of anticlimactic, not really, not a lot going on. It's still a lot of setup here at this point. They might have wanted to do a little like a 2-hour premiere, I think, and kind of condense some stuff. I don't know. It was just kind of a weird thing. I'm hoping that stuff picks up next episode at least. I know she's, Amy's supposed to get the injection. We've seen it in the previews. She's supposed to end up having the superpower where she can, repel the vampires, all that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping that's what's going to end up happening. by the next episode. Yeah, Penn Farm World, exactly. I still feel like I've seen it before. I'm on the fence about liking it. Again, it's kind of pedestrian at this point. The acting's okay, but there's some scenes that are really choppy, and then also having the flashbacks thrown in. I think what they should have done was led with the flashbacks in the very beginning of the episode and then gone back. Kind of like what they did with the last episode, because it seemed to work that way. Yeah, for network TV, it's okay. Penn Farm World, I'm giving it a lot more leeway. Anything that's on network TV, I give a lot of leeway to. Yeah, because they can't do stuff like cable does. They can't do anywhere near what cable does. I'm not expecting this to be Future Man or Counterpart or anything like that. It's on a different tier altogether. Yeah. Slurmy Scott says, this week is my last chance to see the show. My free month expires on the 25th. Wow. Exactly. So, Filthy News says previews are the best parts of the show. Yeah, exactly, Penn Farmer. I'm not comparing this to Counterpart. I'm not comparing this to Future Man. I'm not comparing this to anything else. So, right now. And I am looking forward, actually, to speaking of stuff that I am covering, Deadly Class on Wednesday. I want to see what episode 2 is going to do, because episode 1, was so far away. What was that, like a month ago? I think that actually premiered on YouTube and on sci-fi.com and all that stuff. And I liked the first episode. And I've been hearing grumblings from different reviewers on the series itself. They keep talking about how there's stereotypes and things like that. And yeah, I'll get into it in that review when it happens. So yeah, I think it was a little bit more than a month ago, Penn Farm Girl. It was a while ago. So that's why I pinned it to the top of my all my reviews there. So it's the first thing that people see when they come in. But I'll see how this goes. Hopefully, like I said, they start picking up the pace a little bit more and we get more of the story going on, because right now that is a slow moving virus. I did like that we saw in Lacey's house. She actually pinned up one of the articles saying that 13,000 people had died in China. So we got some news out of China that there's people dying, and it's going out into the wild there, out into the world, that this is actually happening. So I'm kind of surprised there's not more panicking going on than normal. Slurmy Scott says, I had to rewatch the last episodes of The Punisher from last season. My brain had deleted the memory. Yeah. Filthy News says, I watched a few more episodes of Counterpart today. Came from Dragon Ball Super this evening. It was really good. Yeah, it is good, Filthy. I mean, it's a different type of show, and it's like I said, it's fringe, but better. They did a really good job of this one on Counterpart. So yeah, if you guys aren't watching Counterpart, definitely do it. It's on Stars. I know Stars has all of season 1 up, but they're midway through season 2 right now, a little more than midway. They've got 4 more episodes left. And they may be on the bubble of cancellation at this point too, which really sucks, because it's actually one of the best shows on TV at the moment. So if you like what you see, hit the subscribe button. Also hit the like button down below, or the dislike button if you don't like me either. You can do either way. And you can also hit the bell if you want to know when I'm going to be on next. I have a full schedule up on suspendedfanimation.com. I also have it up on my Facebook page as well. I am doing reviews of a lot of different shows at the moment. So I'm doing Future Man, Deadly Class, Project Blue Book. Tomorrow is Project Blue Book. Wednesday is Deadly Class. Thursday is going to be Gotham. Friday is Future Man. And Saturday is going to be Saturday Morning Blast Off, where I go through all the news of the week and basically all the genre stuff that you guys want to talk about as well. Talk about all kinds of different things. Went for almost 2 hours last Saturday. And on Sundays is Counterpart. And Mondays, of course, is The Passage. So, and yes, I do watch the CW stuff as well, Filthy News. I need to actually catch up. I know that stuff has started again. And that's probably what I'm going to do after this. I've got a couple more episodes of The Punisher to get through as well. I did finish Future Man. That's all I'm going to say. I had to. It started getting on me, and I had to watch it all. Slurmy Scott says, Dennis, check out The Expanse Crack 2 on YouTube. Funny. Okay, I'll take a look. I'll try and do it. Nice, Filthy. Filthy says Supergirl last night was the best of the season last night. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm like I said, I like the CW stuff. It's cheesy at times. Sometimes it's preachy as well. I kind of ignore the preachy stuff. I like the cheesy stuff. Yeah, Pen Farm Girl, Future Man. All I can say is it goes really off the deep end, and I like it. I like where they went. That's all I can say. So yeah, I'm looking forward to recapping the rest of the episodes. They're pretty damn good. Not as I mean, season 1 was a little bit better, but that's just because it was so new and fresh. But season 2, I would say, stands up there almost as good as season 1. So, oh, cool. Legends will be back on April 4th. Nice, Filthy. Yeah, it's the last episode is absolute bonkers. I'll just tell you that, Pen Farm Girl. It was out of left field completely. Yeah. So with that said, if you like what you see, you're going to see the subscribe button up here. You're going to see some videos over here, if you're still on the cusp there, that are going to be tailored to what you like out of my library, out of my video library. Other than that, you can find me on Facebook. Like I said, you can find me on Twitter. You can find me on Instagram. And I also have my own webpage as well, suspendedfanimation.com. Other than that, I'm going to let you guys go for the night. And no, Filthy, I did not see the Mortal Kombat footage. So I will see you guys tomorrow for Project Blue Book. Talk to you guys later. Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out. Otherwise, you might end up having to give a tooth to a vampire for some unknown reason.